Dear friends, in the previous video we have been discussing about the safety, responsibilities and rights while being the professionals in organizations. Risk benefit analysis, why and when, where to take the risk and how much risk we can take and the effects of the risk and other things we have been discussing in the previous video. In this video we are going to discuss about collective bargaining, confidentiality, conflict of interest, occupational crime and intellectual property rights. So the collective bargaining is a common word we are coming across in day-to-day life. In industry also we have very similar terminology like collective bargaining. So the bargaining is the purpose to solve the issue temporarily. For purchasing some product or some item, we will bargain with the merchants. In similar way, the employees, if they have some grievances, some demands, they may approach the employers, that is the owners, managing directors, CEOs, and they will discuss across the table and come to the common consensus so that the problem will be solved. That is called collective bargaining. So it is happening in the interest of both the employers and employees, and at the same time it is oriented towards economic growth of the organization also. Sometimes if the collective bargaining fails, the employees may go for threatening or they may raise slogans, they may lead to strike also. That's why they are giving importance for collective bargaining in the organization, and they will invite the union people, union leaders, that is employees representatives, and they will discuss and they will come to the common consensus, that is common solution. That is the result of collective bargaining. So this is an important aspect, important happening taking place in almost all government or non-government or private, public or all types of organizations. Second important terminology is confidentiality. Confidence is a very much essential terminology, not only for family life, not only for student life, not only in other things, but in organization also. The employees should have the confidence on employers. Employees should have the confidence on employees. The customers will have the confidence on the company's product. So that is very much required. It is a basic need for the growth of the organization. At the same time, we have to keep the information of the employer, that is secret, we have to maintain. That is another form of confidentiality. The secret should not be revealed. Trade secrets will not be revealed. The technologies which are implementing should not be revealed to the competitors. They should maintain the confidence. That is, they should maintain the secret. Important aspect of their work culture. That is very much essential for the smooth growth of the organization. That is, will reflect respect. Employers are believing the employees, so we have to maintain that. So that is why confidentiality is very much required. It can be justified by ethical theories. Confidentiality can be justified by various ethical theories. So in ethics, we have different ethical theories like right-based theories, that is a right theory, that is right to the stakeholders, right to the intellectual property of the company are protected by this practice. By implementing the right theory, I have the right, so the stakeholders have the right. Stakeholders here, customers are the main stakeholders. They have the right to get the right product. That is right theory. Based on the duty theory, another form of theory is called a duty theory. Employees and employees have the duty to keep up the mutual trust that is given by duty theory. Third theory is utilitarian theory. It holds good only when confidentiality produces most goods to most people. Act utilitarian theory focus on each situation when the employer decides on some matters as confidential. So here we are seeing the four different types of theories: right theory, duty theory, utilitarian theory, and utilitarian act theory. So these theories will guide how to maintain the confidentiality and how to maintain the secret for the well growth of the organization. So these are the important terminologies. We have to have the faith. We have to maintain the secret of the company. That is called confidentiality. For that we have duty theory, right theory, utilitarian theories. Another important terminology is conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. Conflict means not smooth. If I am worrying about myself, that is like selfish. I am worrying about my personal growth. I want to earn money. Somehow I have to earn money. I will not follow the ethics. That may lead to conflict of interest. When it will occur, when an individual's personal interest, it may be the financial interest, it may be relational interest, or it may be the professional interest, it will compromise the judgment, decisions, or actions in the professional role. They will worry only about their personal growth. That is why it is called as individual interest, personal interest. When you are working for the organization, we should not have the individual growth, individual interest. You can have the individual growth, but not at the compromise of organization. If it is good, it is okay. I want to earn money by some wrongdoing, which is not acceptable with the organization. It is against the ethical norms that will lead to conflict of interest. It is a situation in which a person or organization is involved in multiple interests, financial or otherwise, one of which could possibly corrupt the motivation or decision making of that individual or organization. It is against, it may demotivate. Okay, that is called conflict of interest. Another important point is occupational crime. An occupational crime may be committed by wrong actions of a person through one's lawful employment. Crime by an employee to promote one's own or employee's interest. Theft, pilferage of employee, damage to properties or an employee's own organization. These are all called collared crimes. Occupational crime called collared crime. Occupational crime, occupation means we are working for the organization. That time we should be faithful to the organization. We should not involve in any illegal activity, illegal commitment. That's called occupational crime. So that should be avoided. Occupational crime should be avoided. Human rights. It is a moral entitlement that places obligations on other people to treat one with dignity and respect. Everyone is having rights to live in this place. If the foreigners are coming, but other from people from other nations are coming, we have to respect them. We should not cheat them. We should not beat them. We should not degrade them. We should respect them. They also are human. We have to give respect. That is called human rights. They have the right to pursue legitimate personal interest. They have the right to make living. They have the right to be privacy, right to property, right of non-discrimination, no sexual harassment. These are the human rights. No one can damage my career. So I have the rights to live in this country. That should not get affected. So if they may go to court. So human rights are defined as a moral entitlements that place obligations on other people to treat one with dignity and respect. That is very, very important to human rights. Professional rights, right to form and express professional judgment, right to reuse or to participate in unethical activities. Refuse. I will refuse. If they ask me to do some unethical activity, I should refuse. That right I have. I will not indulge in unethical activities. I will not indulge in bribe. I will not indulge in releasing the secret. I will not indulge in doing some unwanted things against my employer. That is called professional rights. Right to equal opportunity, that is non-discrimination. Right to equal opportunity, that is sexual harassment in the workplace. Right to equal opportunity, that is affirmative action or preferential treatment. The last topic is intellectual property rights. So intellectual property rights, that is IPR, simply called as IPR. So when we have some intellectual knowledge and if we are coming out with a new novel product, novel process, that has to be protected. Otherwise your idea may be theft by somebody else and they will grow. It is a wealth growing opportunity. If your idea may be novel, somebody will take your idea and they will run the business and they will make money out of it. So we have to protect our idea, we have to protect our novelty. That's called intellectual property rights. There are different types of intellectual property rights. That is the role. It is good for economic rights of the creators, commercial exploitation, capital expenditure, transfer of technology, cultural development. There are different types of IPR, patent, industry designs, trademark, copyright, semiconductor integrated circuit, geographical indications, patent and trademark. These are some about patents. So it is a